We got two big news stories for Tesla and a bunch of other news about Elon Musk and Tesla, so let's dive in. First, Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas has reinstated Tesla's very top pick in US autos after the recent 30% fall in the stock price. And their price target has a 50% upside. Morgan Stanley views Tesla transitioning from an automotive pure play to a highly diversified play on AI and robotics. And I've seen Tesla like this for years now. It has taken Wall Street a long time to catch up. Their bull case Tesla stock price target for the next 12 months is actually $800 per share, and their base case is $430. And that bull case, by the way, does not include the humanoid robots. But Morgan Stanley notes that every 1% of US labor force that can be captured by Tesla Optimus is worth approximately $100 per share for Tesla, and this is just the US market alone. And they finally admit that they see growing investor attention in this segment, and with the potential for humanoid robots to be a larger opportunity than even autonomous vehicles. Which really is quite obvious when you think about it, but they are starting to point it out. So this morning, Tesla stock was actually up, and there was one more reason why it was up. However, while I'm recording this, the markets are lower, so that momentum that Tesla had, it went away. There was a big arson attack against Tesla in France. 12 Tesla cars were torched, and the prosecutor's office is convinced that this was not accidental, this was done on purpose. And it was just announced that the 25% tariffs in Canada and Mexico will actually begin tomorrow. The tariffs will add a 25% fee on all Mexican and Canadian exports coming across these borders. And even though Teslas are the most made in America vehicles that you can buy in the United States of America, there are still some parts that come from other countries. I personally think that in the long term, there is going to be some sort of a deal worked out between the US and Mexico and Canada. But if not, it's actually in the long term good for Tesla because all other automakers, they get a lot more parts from outside the US. And while these tariffs would still hurt Tesla, it would hurt other automakers quite a bit more. Therefore, in the end, I believe they would actually benefit Tesla. But definitely not in the short term. In the short term, everyone feels pain. Except those of us, of course, who are buying more Tesla stock. I understand not everyone has multiple businesses that are doing pretty well. And my younger brothers have been asking, how am I doing these numbers? And instead of teaching them one-on-one everything I know about money, I decided to do an event so some of you can actually come and join and then learn how to make a lot more. There's a link down below if you're interested. But I think at least a little bit, this post from Elon Musk definitely contributed to Tesla being up this morning earlier today. Elon said it will require outstanding execution, but I think more like 1000% gain for Tesla in 5 years is possible. Elon Musk also basically officially confirmed by reposting this to his main timeline that Tesla is moving to launch a free self-driving taxi service in California. And I personally really like this piece of news. This is from Europe. Tesla FSD V13.2.8 is operating in Europe in shadow mode. So FSD is definitely coming to Europe. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of a regulatory approval at this point. And on top of that, it appears that FSD is actually going to launch in Australia as well, perhaps very soon. Because in Tesla owner's account page, the invoice document under my account now shows full self-driving supervised, where it used to show FSD package, and that's a big difference. And also pay attention here. This is very important, and many people are going to misinterpret this, so pay close attention to this. Otherwise, you'll be misinformed. Elon said a few days ago that Tesla was able to launch FSD supervised in China using publicly available video on the internet of roads and signs in China and use that to train in simulations. So some people are going to look at this and think that Tesla trained his whole FSD model with publicly available videos and sign data and all of that. But all that Tesla means is that they took signs and roads that are publicly available for everyone to see from outside the world, and they put that into their training model, which is already trained in the US for US driving, but it's now updated for driving in China with these signs and road markings and stuff like that. But the actual FSD model, no, all of that was trained largely on the data from the US. So it's not like other companies can just come in and just copy what Tesla has done. Well, you can copy what Tesla has done if you have a working model in the US, which works as well as Tesla's model in the US. If you have that, sure, you can do that, but no one else has as much data as Tesla does, so they cannot actually replicate what Tesla is doing. Because to do that, you need millions of vehicles on the roads today collecting data every single day, and hundreds of thousands of people using full self-driving every single day, and no one else has that except for Tesla. Anyway, what Elon Musk is demonstrating here with Tesla is that once you have FSD working pretty well in one area of the world, it is indeed actually going to work pretty much everywhere else with just minor tweaks and minor updates. And on top of all this, Elon points out that Teslas can even drive themselves on dirt roads with no markings, and this was actually done in China. When it's a dirt road, it doesn't really matter where exactly it is, because it's a dirt road, there are no markings, there's basically nothing, so you just do what makes sense in the moment, mostly. And Bradford points out something funny. Tesla FSD is in mountains in China, while Huawei's current system isn't capable of staying on the road. The Tesla makes it turns easily. And by the way, I used to feel very uncomfortable with some previous versions of FSD when there was a motorbike or a bicycle, but now with the latest version, it's really smooth. I just had a very tricky encounter with a bicycle and it handled that perfectly, probably better than I could have actually. And look at what this Chinese reviewer says. FSD seems to have hired a full-time driver. Tesla's control level on mountain roads is significant. Look at how well it's handling this turn. This is great. Very well done. Here's another FSD reviewer in China raving about Tesla driving on rural roads. The driver says, FSD gives me a strong sense of safety. Now, you still, of course, need to pay attention, but I do feel safer with FSD on than without FSD. And here, FSD is handling a pretty tricky situation. Looks like the car ahead is sort of stuck, so you have to go around it here while other cars are going around you at the same time, too. And FSD is handling this nice. Of course, FSD is definitely not perfect and you have to pay attention, but it's pretty good. And the publisher of this revealed that a friend in the car experienced FSD and went home to order a Model 3. Very good. Seems like this is going to be good. Ray says that his friend from a child group just shared his initial experience with FSD. He has a v13.2.6, which he downloaded after he returned back to Shenzhen, China. And he has taken several test drives with FSD, and he has accumulated 100 kilometers of driving on FSD. And he's really impressed by the flawless, so far, zero intervention drives. He even invited his friend, who owns an Xpeng X9, to test it as well. And the friend uses that vehicle's latest NGP autonomous driving system all the time. So obviously he's a savvy user of ADA's systems. And after the test drive, his verdict was FSD is invincible. The foundational capabilities of FSD are far better than those of other systems in China. Well, FSD right now at this current moment is not invincible, as in it's not safer than human driving, so you gotta pay attention. But this does say a lot about other Chinese systems. Clearly, Tesla is ahead, even though Tesla does not even have local data from China, I assume, in its model. I mean, they have some data that's publicly available, but not video data from Tesla vehicles. And yet it's beating other systems that are trained on local data. That's very impressive. And here's something that no doubt is going to be terrified to see. This is Tesla Model 3 FSD testing in China at 10 p.m. And the car was going at almost 40 miles per hour, so 60 kilometers an hour with FSD on. And as you saw, the vehicle stopped perfectly in time, avoiding the accident completely because it's on FSD. Tesla Chan posted his full review of FSD in China. He does point out that the only thing that so far is sort of a bit of an issue with FSD is that it has not yet fully grasped China's traffic rules. And looking at all the Chinese reviews, very few people say FSD's driving performance is bad. Most are just intervening because FSD hasn't learned the rules of China yet. So overall, that's definitely very good, and I largely expected that. The little rules, intricacies, I think Tesla can teach its cars. The driving performance overall is what really matters. You can tweak the little things later. What matters is being able to get to your destination without crashing. Without crashing is key. And Tesla's FSD in China will improve rapidly, just like it does in the US. And Omar predicts that this will stun Chinese users even more than the first build. Omar hopes that Tesla somehow could collect all of the data from Chinese drivers that Tesla is generating in China, but I'm not really sure that's happening anytime soon. And Omar makes a pretty big prediction here. I'm not really sure about this one. Will China FSD take rate surpass US? Omar says yes, once subscription is available. If the price is not much cheaper, I don't think that's happening, especially because in the end, so far at least, the training data is mostly from the US. So I'm pretty sure it performs better in the US for most people here than it does in China. And Tesla's engineering talent is, most of it for FSD is here in the US. So I would be very surprised if China's FSD take rates surpass US. And I largely agree with Omar here. Elon figured out that you can drive a car with just computer vision. And as far as Omar is concerned, Elon can poop on the brand all he wants. It doesn't matter, no matter how much people whine about his tweets. Dude is a goddamn living legend, and as long as he sells full self-driving, his political tweets will not matter in the end when it comes to the price of Tesla stock. And while I think James is making a point here, I don't fully agree with this. Buying a car shouldn't be a political statement, but this is what Tesla has become, sadly. Okay, so this is a keyed Tesla. And here I just went to YouTube, I searched for Tesla keyed. And I found videos, which are not even recent videos. So this one is from 2 years ago. Keying Teslas has been a thing for a long time now. Ever since Teslas have been around, it's been a thing. I mean, a bunch of these videos are from 2 years ago or more. Here's another one. This guy or person must have had some incredible foresight to know 5 years ago that Elon Musk is going to make certain political posts for him or her to key this car. Here's another one from 5 years ago. I'm literally not even cherry picking anything. This is just random videos at the top of my YouTube page, and most of them are old, really old. If you have the latest FSD version, you might have experienced something like this. I certainly have experienced this multiple times already. Even driving manually sometimes, I'm just like, wow, merging onto a difficult highway or freeway is such a pain in the butt. Let me just turn on FSD and let it handle this. Spare me the headache. I often like to especially make sure that FSD is turned on when I'm making either a left turn or a right turn, and I need to watch both sides, so left and right. For example, from the right side, I need to watch if I have any bicycles that are just gonna go straight behind me and just go straight instead of turning right together with me. And then also I need to watch traffic coming from the left side, but I can only look one way while FSD can look both ways. So I feel safer when FSD is on when I'm making turns like that. Wow, it has now been 5 years since the first Model Y deliveries begun. The Model Y now has generated $165 billion in revenue and has become the #1 best-selling vehicle in the world. Here are last year's bestsellers. Toyota Corolla is #2, Toyota RAV4 is #3, and the Ford F-Series pickup trucks are #4. Oh, and Tesla actually started selling the regular Model Y in China with up to 10-week delivery wait time. And in the US, people have actually taken deliveries of the new Model Ys now. There's a bunch of them spotted at Giga Texas. It also now debuted in Australia. Oh, and Sawyer is getting a new Model Y as well. He's gonna get it on March 8th. It will actually be delivered at Giga Texas, so he will go collect it there himself. And there's going to be basically the same kind of event in Fremont as well on the same day. Ooh, and if you are thinking of getting an old Model Y because maybe you want to save some money, right now is probably the best time there ever was. You can get some pretty steep discounts. And the new Model Y is about to come to South Korea as well, so launches are going smoothly, I think, so far. And despite a massive transition in China for Tesla to switch to the new Model Y, while production did fall down, it's nothing so spectacularly low in terms of total units produced compared to what we had before. I mean, we had some pretty low months before, so this is not really that bad. Even electric reporters admit that it looks like the production ramp is going well for Tesla in China. And I'm on the Chinese website right now, and it says here that the rear-wheel drive Model Y can be delivered actually in 2 to 4 weeks. So Electric was questioning the demand for Tesla for this new vehicle, but if you look at the long-range all-wheel drive model, the deliveries will take 6 to 10 weeks. This just came out. The European Union is giving automakers some breathing room by enabling them to buy fewer emission credits from Tesla. So that's why a lot of automaker stocks have just risen and Tesla stock hurt just a little bit. Here's some news from Drive Tesla Canada. Tesla Model S and X delivery wait times in Europe extend to August, which is suggesting an impending refresh. I'm looking forward to that. Just for a moment, back to the 1000% gain for Tesla in 5 years from Elon Musk. I think many people are interpreting this as the stock going up 1000%, but in this specific case, Elon meant profits because he quoted a post showing profits. And so Gary did some calculations. He estimates that a 10x increase in Tesla's earnings in 5 years translates to a present value of $714 per share. I think if Tesla's earnings grew by 1,000%, the stock would be quite a bit higher than $700 per share. Now, Elon states that this would require some outstanding execution, and Stephen Mark Ryan points out that this is what Tesla does for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a rumor coming from India. Supposedly, Elon Musk's Tesla has finalized the location for its first showroom in India. And the location is in Mumbai. It seems like this report is actually fairly credible. It's not 100% confirmed, of course, but there's some serious credibility behind this. It's not a huge space. It's about 4,000 square feet or 400 square meters, but it is going to cost $40,000 a month. The lease agreement is for 5 years, so Tesla is indeed planning to stay. And Tesla soon is expected to open another showroom. So we are probably going to hear official news about all of this being confirmed. Oh, just as I'm recording, it's been officially now confirmed that Tesla has reportedly finalized the location for the first showroom in India. It's official now. There was a protest in New York City. This is a store, a Tesla store in Manhattan in New York City, and these people later got arrested. 9 people actually got arrested, and we are only seeing protests like this that escalate badly in very, very liberal places. There was, however, a sizable protest in Tucson, Arizona. You can see these people on the sidewalks. They are protesting. So that's actually quite a few people. Not a lot, but quite a few. Supposedly, the protests in Manhattan in New York City had 300 people show up, which is a pretty sizable number. And these protesters broke glass doors and windows. My guess is that this cost Tesla a few sales because some people want to test drive vehicles and decide not to test drive them. But some people went for a test drive anyway, although the test drive for Martinez here started at about 2 p.m. instead of 1 p.m. because he wasn't able to get into the store. A famous Chinese auto blogger just shared his view about FSD. He has a pretty big social media following. Well, overall, he's actually not a Tesla fan by any means. But when he reviewed FSD, he gave it a 90 out of 100. He's actually quite impressed with FSD. There was a landmark partnership announced between GVEC today and Tesla, making the cooperative the first in Texas to participate with Tesla as a utility-scale virtual power plant resource, which means that GVEC is teaming up with Tesla to use home battery systems as part of a bigger power network. Tesla Powerwall owners can now support the Texas power grid by allowing some of their stored energy to be used during times of high demand. Elon Musk shared some funny pictures here. He says, a senior exec at Tesla sent me some funny pictures from days in the factory where I was trying to show the construction team day shift what equipment wasn't working and needed to be removed. So I spray painted stick figures on them. And now let's talk about some Elon Musk news specifically. Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and here are some clips that are going sort of more viral. Elon says, I hope people realize I'm not a Nazi. I just want to be clear, I am not a Nazi. Elon Musk said that Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief. This is something that most people probably will not be aware of. Elon Musk says, not much has changed here, and this is a report. This is all from 2022. Biden lost temper with Zelensky in June phone call when Ukraine leader asked for more aid. However, yesterday news came out that Zelensky said he's ready to sign a minerals deal with Trump, and the money that's sent to Ukraine, probably Elon can't wait to audit where it is actually going. Elon posted, he's not wrong. This was General Flynn calling Ukraine funding one giant money laundering operation. And Elon predicts that reducing fraud and waste of tax dollars in the US by $1 trillion in 2026 is possible. And Elon Musk is looking at the Fed and thinks it is absurdly overstaffed. Currently, they have 500 researchers, including more than 400 PhD economists who represent an exceptionally diverse range of interests and areas of expertise. By incredibly diverse, they mean they are all Democrats, pretty much. Argentina's economy continues to surge. The president's policies drive 7.1% GDP growth projections. So GDP is expected to grow 7.1% interannually in Q2 in Argentina, and Elon says prosperity is what happens when you cut government overspending and excess regulation, and GDP is probably going to grow noticeably after all the spending cuts made by DOGE. On Joe Rogan, Elon Musk explained the Soros racket. It doesn't involve Soros spending his own money. It involves Soros making a seed investment so he can get his hands on your tax dollars. He then makes you pay through the government to fund your own destruction. And then Elon got some backlash here, which wasn't really deserved, but there's a post here saying kids will die because Elon Musk starved them of food we already paid for. There were about 400,000 boxes of USAID branded RUTF ready to be shipped out. And if shipping costs are not covered, about $10 million would just go to waste. $10 million of wasted peanut butter. That's a lot of peanut butter. Then Elon Musk called out who started this propaganda. He said, this guy lies and used this just to score cheap political points. That said, Elon Musk promised to investigate whether this is real or not and fix it if it is. And then Elon, a day later, revealed that the contract mentioned above had already been restored last week and they should receive payment this coming week. So was a mistake made? Yes. Was it corrected very quickly? Absolutely. Today, we are getting a bigger Tesla stock buying opportunity. And some people in the comments before, when Tesla stock would drop significantly, said that they want to buy more Tesla stock, but they can't afford to buy any more Tesla stock because their incomes are low. But if you'd like to learn how I'm doing all of this, which I will be teaching in a 2-day event in Houston, Texas, because my younger brothers who are teenagers right now, they're asking me everything I know about money and they want to learn everything I know about money. So instead of just teaching them one-on-one, I will do this event and then they will get to learn. And at the same time, some of you get to come. So if you're interested, click on the link down below and I will see you there. Thank you so much for watching. I believe that Tesla stock is going to $1,000 per share and the next video should be coming out this Wednesday. See you then.